Hello, everybody. Welcome to Void Jumpers, a new little weekly sci-fi stream we're going to do of an actual play, tabletop RPG. I'm Jesse Keeter. I'm going to be running the show. I just got a couple announcements here before we bring in the rest of the gang. We'll be playing Monster of the Week. It's a game that was created by Michael Sands and a game system based on Powered by the Apocalypse mechanics. This will be an actual play stream, but our focus is going to be on the characters and the narrative. So we've bent some rules, broken some others, and created a slew of our own, so forgive us of these sins. This is a brief description of the rules. If and when players need to roll the dice, they will always just roll 2d6 for everything. Their results will land in one of three categories: a full success, a partial success, or a failure. But failure is not a no. It is merely one of three forking paths the story has an option to pursue. I, as the keeper, as we call it, or mission control, will never roll any dice. This is a collaborative storytelling game that focuses on the world and the narrative. For the purposes of our story, I've homebrewed a few new classes and reskinned some others, but I'll let the hunters tell you more about that in a little bit. This game is all about fighting monsters. And the thing is, you got to find out what hurts them the most, because the fights in this game are very dangerous. They move very quickly, and our hunters can't take much damage. So they're going to need to do everything they can to investigate several mysteries to find out what will allow them to get the upper hand in these battles, or they're going to have a very tough time. So they will be spending their time exploring the world, talking to people, and looking at evidence to find out how best to go about their duties. I think that's about it. So let's meet everybody else. What's up?
Hey.
I think that everybody should just go around, introduce yourselves, your roles in this stream, and the characters you'll be playing. Please describe them if you want to. Feel free to give us some light yet flavorful backstory. And I think we should start with Lisa.
Hi guys, I'm Lisa Coronado. I'm playing Bryn Cosaint, and my character comes from a long lineage of summoners and royalty. We are a matriarchal society. And I'm starting this adventure finally able to go off planet to see if I can live up to my mother's great reign and start taking on some royal duties.
Trin?
Hey, Lisa.
Hi, Lisa.
Thanks.
Hi, everybody. I'm Trin Miller. I will be playing Rex Leonine. Her name's Rex because she wrecks hearts and bodies. I am a problem solver for the company, which means if I show up at your door, you probably did something not so great to get me there. I have some family tragedy in my past. When I was young, my village was attacked, and I was the only survivor. If anyone is a Apex player out there, there's a new character that came out recently called Lobo, I believe, who has some very, very cool, very long hair braids, and that is definitely what Rex is rocking.
Thank you. Connor?
Sure. I don't think I'm going to say too much because I don't think we know too much yet about this fellow. His name is Tag. He's part of the Parallel Order, which is an organization, a society or fraternity of sorts that finds children who are off a traditional path, who are either orphaned for one reason or another, or don't have that kind of familiar structure, and they take them in, and some children that are deemed suitable for the life are inducted and trained to become parallels. Parallels are kind of like squires of a sort for summoners out there. So Lisa's character, Bryn, the summoner, is going to have a squire assigned to her, a parallel, which is me, Tag. He's an earnest young fellow. He himself doesn't know much about his path, his backstory beyond what he's been brought up in, which is this training. So we'll all learn something together.
All right, excellent. And last but certainly not least, Brian.
Hi, my name is Brian S. Lewis, and I am going to be playing Dr. Baxter Brodigan. And Dr. Baxter is an Arcano engineer, and I was born on the Void planet. And I'm pretty sure there's some details about that I'm not supposed to say quite yet. But it's kind of different from the rest of the system, the star system that we're working with. I'm kind of a mad scientist. Some people might be calling me the professor, or some people might be calling me Doc or Doctor or Dr. Baxter. I don't know what people are going to call me. I have no idea. I'll answer to all of them. I'm helping to develop some of the more unique and dangerous assets for the company, and including in discovering a new method of distilling something called Erix, which is basically like a... Again, I'm not sure if I can go into that, but it's kind of my thing. I believe, Jesse, can I go into a little bit of detail about that?
Yeah, of course.
Okay,
I think that
right.
there's no reason for big secrets. I haven't even told you some of the juiciest stuff, so I'm not too worried about it.
Love it. I essentially am I'm pioneering some of some new technology. Because a lot of the star system deals with magic, but some people cannot use said magic for one reason or another, but they'd still like to have benefits of said magic. So my job is essentially to kind of like extract magical things out of stuff, objects, whatever, and kind of crystallize it in something called an Erix, and then I can use that and put it in stuff to make it all crazy cool. So yeah, a lot of my work is pretty hush hush, top secret. But my kind of cover story is like I'm going out and obtaining assets for the company, but I have ulterior motives.
Excellent. Okay. Thank you, guys. We're going to be dropping into the fiction of this realm very soon. The last little bit I'll say is structurally, Monster of the Week is designed to be like shows that are Buffy or Angel or X-Files, in which, well, I don't need to describe those shows because they're dope and you've probably seen them. So typically...
And if you haven't, you absolutely need to.
Typically, those shows start with a cold open. Or a prologue in which you will get to see a scene out of context, and then we will roll into the show themselves. I'm going to start us off now by presenting you with the cold open of our first arc. The camera pans over an endless jungle. We see a reinforced metal structure in a small clearing. A man in a white lab coat approaches the front door. Inside the structure, we find a bustling reactor control room. The reactor itself is visible through a thick viewing portal. This reactor is unlike any you've ever seen. Inside the housing, an exposed core of green crystals crackle with raw energy. The floor beneath the reactor is grated, and it isn't long before we realize there is activity below. Thick cables snake down into the floor, pulling juice from some unknown source below. As the camera dips into the lower level, we can now see the reactor is plugged into a massive form, a living form, which is bound to the floor with thick iron chains. The camera does not linger on this creature, but we get the impression it is very large. We can just make out long, spindly legs, a sickled tail tethered to the ceiling, and pooling on the floor beneath it, a shimmering black ooze. A dozen scientists pace around the creature. They wear white lab coats and take notes. They monitor the dials, which in turn monitor the energy being transferred to the reactor above. The beast struggles against its bonds, desperate to escape. It is obviously in pain, but the beast cannot move. It is helpless. It has no choice but to submit, to feed the reactor above. There's a slow fade to black, and when we come back up, we are in the vast reaches of outer space.
Ooh, I forgot that I'm playing even.
We're going to begin our adventure on a spaceship. It is called Haven. It is a luxury class exploration vessel. that has been sponsored by the company, an interplanetary corporation that controls much of the resources in the system. Your mission is simple. Bryn, an aspiring summoner, an heir apparent to the leadership role of the fire element planet, has been invited by the summoner, the leader of the bloom element planet, the plant element planet, as a favor to Bryn's mother. The company, as they have a vested interest in securing a political relationship with all of the families that rule the planets, has agreed to escort Bryn on this mission, and they have supplied her with a very snazzy spaceship and a couple bodyguards. I'd like to start this session by having a brief scene with each of your characters to just establish a little bit of who you are, what you like, and then I think we'll get into the group and start playing the game. We're going to start with Bryn. Bryn, you are staying on the upper deck of this ship, Haven, in the VIP suite. You've been flying for about a week, and what's it like to be in space?
So cool. I mean, very, very wonderful. It's definitely something that I have dreamed about my whole life. Yeah, I'm just excited to actually see everything.
Okay. What are you doing in your cabin? You've got some time to yourself. You're squirreled away. What kind of activity would you be participating in your luxury VIP suite?
I think I'm just writing in a journal because I don't want to forget any of this, any of the feelings of discovering something new. I want to record in great detail, and I've probably got some music on. And honestly, when I'm not doing that, I'm pacing. I'm looking at my staff and I'm pacing. I just want to get there already. I'm super ready. I want to get there.
Okay. You are almost there. You've been told that you'll be arriving this day. Tracking things like days are strange in space, but there is a standardized calendar that is kind of broadcast through all traveling vessels, so it helps you feel a little bit of normalcy, and it's easier to schedule things. So you will be arriving today. As you're sitting there writing in your journal and listening to some music, what kind of music?
Definitely some, like, a little bit of like jungle music, just something really atmospheric and low key, but with a beat that kind of just matches my excitement without going too far over the top.
Okay. The vid screen in your room beeps and lets you know that there is an incoming call from your mother.
I answer it.
All right. Bryn? Bryn.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Mother.
How are you?
You know, I'm good. I'm just never felt better. Nice and calm and collected.
Okay. I just wanted to call before you went planetside and just say hello. I'm very excited for you.
I'm excited too. I'm trying not to get too excited. You always are able to keep such composure no matter what's going on, and I'm trying to remember to do that, but it's a little hard right now. I'm kind of glad I'm by myself.
Composure comes with experience, as does confidence, and I think that there'll be a time for that. I wasn't just calling to see how you were doing.
Oh.
Summoner Langurium, the man you're going to meet on the Preserve, is an old friend of mine. And you have to understand, Bryn, as you start to get out there and meet these people, that while Summoner Langurium is going to be very nice and very accommodating, and our families have been allies for a very long time, our planet relies on the preserve for much of its agricultural needs. And I just want to make sure that you are on your best behavior when staying with Summoner Langorium and touring the facilities of the planet, because, well, I don't think I need to tell you why. It's obvious.
It's been a really long time since that incident. I've grown a ton as a person. I will be on my best behavior.
Okay.
And you sent 2 bodyguards to make sure anyway, so...
The company insisted and I didn't mind. Bryn, you should know that I'm excited for you to get out there too. And when you have my job, and it is your responsibility to oversee this planet and the people that are on it, this is why I was so excited for you to take this trip, because I truly feel that getting out there and meeting new people, but also having the opportunity to get into trouble and make some mistakes and find out what you're really made of will help you in the long run. And while I am nervous and I do want you to be careful, I also think that you should just try and have some fun.
I'll try. But I'll try to stay very professional while having fun. You don't have to worry.
Okay.
And I
I'm thinking of you.
Appreciate it that you let me come. Even though I've been asking for like 10 years.
My allowance of such things is merely a formality. It is your right as an heir apparent to see the galaxy in which you will become an integral part of, and I admire you and I'm very proud. I won't keep you. We are thinking of you.
I'll ring if I get into trouble, but I don't expect that to happen. You can count on me.
Okay. Farewell.
Till next time.
The vid screen cuts out. We are going to jump to another scene. To the professor. Brian, you have a move.
Mm-hmm.
I believe it is called Alchemical Elixirs.
Ooh.
We're going to get to that, but first, I feel like you would spend a lot of your time in the workshop of the ship. Tell me what it's like.
Well, it is. It has 2 different kind of work tables that are retractable. So I can focus on more than I can have lots of counter space for lots of different, odds and ends and stuff, and places to put them once I'm done with them, and lock them down to make them secure. All my tools are arranged on one side, and I'm currently, fiddling with my leg harness kind of thing. I've kind of a bum leg or a hurt leg. It's never been all that great. Never been really terribly athletic person, but I've tried to overcome that problem with my own kind of like tinkerings and stuff, and so I've built myself sort of a brace that I basically can walk at the same kind of a walk or run or jump at the same situation as a typical person. So yeah, I'm just kind of tinkering with that at this time.
Okay. Your class is the Arcano Engineer. It's one that we special brewed for this campaign. Right. One of your moves is a move. Some of the hunters in this game have a move that they use, that they would roll dice at the beginning of a mystery, and it will kind of either give them some information or some tools to use throughout the rest of the mystery. Because you're a mad scientist, I wanted to give you some funky stuff. So since this mission could prove to be dangerous, I think that you would be thinking ahead to the types of material that you would need. The move is called Alchemical Elixir, and at the beginning of a mystery, which is right now, you're going to roll plus sharp to create 3 healing potions. Right on. And because you are crafting them in a workshop, you're actually going to get a +1 additional for the roll. So if you wouldn't mind rolling 2d6 and add your sharp and a +1.
My sharp is 2, so +1 makes it 3. Rolling now. And Ooh, this is special dice. Ooh, this is one of the times where the little icon is actually 6 and not a 1. Fantastic. That actually is 13.
That is a great roll.
Thank
you
you.
are going to be a master chemist in this situation. Will you please mark down that you have 3 healing potions that do 3 heal and stabilize the person that drink them. You will only be able to carry 3 potions at a time, and you can only use this move at the beginning of a mystery. So, these 3 potions will have to last you until the end of this mystery. Dole them out as you see fit.
Alrighty.
As you
And that's-
are...
One second before we move on.
Yes.
That is 3 vials of +3 heal and stabilize. Is that correct? All right,
Yes. As you are finishing up these and stowing them into your super cool science fiction handbag, your mentor and the Arcano engineer who kind of was there as you were coming up through the ranks walks into the room. His name is Milt Felling. And he says, hey there, how you doing there, Dr. Baxter?
Oh, Milt, you don't have to call me Dr. Baxter. We're old friends. You're my mentor, after all.
I suppose if you got a preference on the things I call you, I could honor that.
So what you doing here?
Oh, I just wanted to have a word with you before you went down there and went planetside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, and let me know what I can help you out with.
Yeah, here's the thing, Doctor. I know that this is your first field mission, and
Yeah.
while we do have a lot of faith in you, that's why we chose you for the job.
Sure.
It's a lot different down there on these planets than it is in the labs you've been working in. And
Well, I hope so.
yes.
Yeah. Some fresh air would be nice.
A lot of the things that you know how to do, they're going to translate down on these planets, and your capability is going to be working in your favor, but there's going to be a lot of unexpected things that happen. Here's the thing, Doc. I just think you should keep your eyes open, keep your secrets safe. And I know that you got some nice people going down there with you, but if I were you, and at this point Milt has pulled up a stool and rolled very close to you, and he's now talking a bit quieter. He says...
I'll check my shoulder, see if anybody's in the room as well.
He says, if I were you, Doc, I wouldn't trust a single one of them. What I want you to remember is that... Yes?
No, I please continue.
You're working for the company. The company... If you look out for the company looks out for you.
Yeah.
Your
So I've been
primary
told.
objective is to protect the company's assets. But I also want you to keep in mind that it wouldn't hurt to ingratiate yourself with this summoner there, because when she takes over, she's going to be looking for people that she trusts, and if that's you, that would get the company one step closer to having an advisorial position on that fire planet.
Yeah. Well, I'll work on that.
Sure. Now, Doc, these are all from me to you. This is just a little advice that I'm giving you because I'm sweet on you, eh?
Well,
But
I'm quite fond of you too, Milt.
I did receive a transmission from the company today, and I do have a bit of a task that we'd like you to complete. When you're down there on the preserve, there's a prototype being developed by the company. It's being stored in the Elder Seed Research and Development Facility. All I know is that the research being conducted there is crucial to the advancement of food production on a galactic scale.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we believe that the prototype is being held in the seed vats, and the people developing it have gotten concerned with its potential and have considered destroying it. We'd very much like you to retrieve that prototype and bring it back here to the company so we can make sure that it's put to good use. So no matter what, Doc, you must recover this asset, okay? Because the company is counting on you.
I wouldn't think that maybe the company had a photo of it or a better description or
the information we have on the prototype
is
largely theoretical, and the scientists developing it have been very protective of the process used to make it. It is specific to the preserve and the energy and elemental sources that can be found on the planet. It would be impossible to replicate elsewhere, so we've been hands off up until this point until we realize that they've been keeping information from us. All I know is that, well, I imagine it'd be hard to miss.
Sure. It's in the seed vats, so I guess I'll look there first.
All right. Well,
Milt, we're off the record, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, other than the advice you already gave me about not trusting anybody, I don't know. This is my first time going out, like you say, and kind of nervous. Can I ask you something? Would you go on this opportunity if given the chance?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I think that you've been handed here a cakewalk here. This new task, as we'll call it, is going to be a bit difficult for you. But had this not been thrown your way, I think it was very smart of you to pick up on this mission here because, honestly, you're just going down there to play babysitter to somebody who's probably capable enough on their own. And the preserve is beautiful, dangerous, but my gosh, wow, it is beautiful.
Well, I'll take some bids for you.
Thank you very much. All right there, Doc. He pats you on the back and gives you a little squeeze, a little bit harder than necessary, and he says, remember, don't trust any of them. Okay, then. See you later.
Bye-bye now.
And he leaves.
He seems like a swell guy.
Next, we're going to go to Rex. Rex, I feel like you spend a lot of time in the armory.
Yeah, I have a bunk, but really the armory, if they didn't kick me out, I'd just be there the entire time, just shadowboxing in a corner and sharpening knives.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And you know that there's just a little bit amount of time before you're going to need to report to the docking bay and get in the transport that'll take you down to the planet. And so this is your final opportunity to assemble some gear. What do you think you would be putting together?
Well, I'm definitely packing Graflex, which is my long... It's like if a samurai sword could be a mace.
Mm-hmm.
That is what a Graflex is.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is elegant and beautiful, but it is also just a club that will kill you.
And this is your custom. This is like your custom big old baby of a weapon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my baby. This is my pet. Kind of been a friend to me in times when I haven't had other people to talk to. So, like Wilson and Tom Hanks, I'm a little overly attached to this particular weapon. And if you can't find me, it's probably because I'm sitting down in the corner, just like slowly polishing every square inch of this weapon.
Okay. Love it. You've been put in charge of assembling the survival kits for the team. There will be 4 of you. Is there any, besides just a basic kind of... this game isn't going to require any kind of survival checks or packing out of supplies, so that you don't have to worry about anything like that. We'll just assume that you know exactly how to pack that out. But is there any special items that you would be making sure you take down to the planet?
You know, I always want to be prepared for unusual situations because in this line of work, you never know quite what you're going to encounter. So our kits are perhaps a little more well equipped than one might expect for what is supposed to be a pretty easy journey.
Mm-hmm.
But I think for the most part, other than having extra rations of food, because a girl's got to have her snacks,
Mm-hmm.
we're packing pretty standard equipment.
All right.
Yeah.
While you're throwing the last couple items into the bags, the old quartermaster comes in. And he was a problem solver for the company for a long time. He has since gotten up there in years and has gotten a little bit of a cushier job, especially running the armories on luxury class exploration vessels like this one. Typically, the company sends these vessels out when they are transporting diplomats, high-level company executives, anybody that needs to get somewhere in style. But because of the types of people that they typically transport in these, their armories are always well stocked, and they need somebody with an experienced eye to cater to that. And so the old quartermaster comes in. His name is Arn. He shambles in. He's got a big old scar going from his chin straight up the middle of his face. And he has a mohawk that is thinning, and a camo jacket on, and some like surfer board shorts and some flip-flops. And he's carrying what looks like a bazooka that might shoot lasers. And he just says, "Just finished polishing it up, putting it back here."
Hey, Aaron, that looks great.
Rex, hey, yeah.
Hey, you ever going to tell me how you got that scar?
Oh, I could, and I should. In a nutshell, I wouldn't cheat at backgammon if I were you. Not when you're on this city above the void planet.
Sounds like good advice. I got another question for you, though.
Yep.
Listen, these luxury ships, it's all been waiting and meetings. And those are the two things that I hate most in the world. Can you promise me that when we get down there, there's going to be something more interesting than meetings and just ferrying around a spoiled little princess?
Yeah, I'd say that there's a pretty good chance you're going to see some action, nothing you won't be able to handle, sure. But the thing about the preserve is there's really just a few colonies down there. Mostly hubs of science installations. The company hasn't really been able to find a way to harness bloom energy, which is the element particular to that planet. And the preserve, from what I understand, is just one jungle. One jungle, an entire planet, and it hasn't been charted accurately. I don't know what kind of... If you stay on the path, you're not going to have much trouble, but anybody goes wandering into the trees, you're going to have problems. There's wild animals there. Some of them are bigger than normal. Bloom's got creatures that most of the other planets can't sustain. Oh, yeah. Some of the best dishes I ever ate has been on the preserve.
All right.
I once ate a snake cooked inside of an alligator, cooked inside of a larger snake that just fell off the bone.
That's the snake alligator reckon, right?
You've had it?
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've never had it, but it sounds delicious.
When you're down there, if you can find any of the locals that know how to cook it, you pay them whatever they ask for. And you eat. You're gonna be fine, Rex. You're gonna have fun. The preserve ain't nothing. Just some big old animals. Most of the ecosystems on the other planet can't support such predators, but because there is a surplus of herbivores, there are also a surplus of carnivores. So just watch your six. Stay out of the trees, unless you get bored.
One more question.
Yeah.
You know I don't trust anybody, even you. Especially not you, actually. I've played
would.
backgammon with you too many times, you cheat.
Yeah.
But these eggheads,
Yeah.
can I trust them?
Oh, I don't know, Rex. I've been in this game a long time, and I spend most of it not trusting anybody, and I'm one of the only guys left that's from my class, you know? But I also didn't have very many friends. So, I don't know.
I'll put it a
That's-
different way. Are they worth saving? If it comes down to it.
You know, I think that summoner's got potential. Not every planet's got a family that's interested in the people. Most of them are just worried about what kind of cash they can get from the company or worried about exploiting the resources that they seem to have an abundance of. But her family, she seems okay.
All right. Thanks, Aaron.
You got it, kid. He walks over and picks up 2 gigantic swords and says, "Yeah, I'm just going to go make a sandwich." And then he leaves.
My kind of guy.
We are going to cut to another scene. It would take place in the hallway outside the door to the VIP suite where we meet Tag. Right? Tag?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think that he's wearing his initiate robes, his parallel order robes. They're very simple, kind of a high single collared tunic, and they're sort of blended shades of a deep charcoal gray. Very simple, very kind of pedestrian and muddy. But every so often, out of the corner of your eye, you look at them and you kind of get that sense of oil and water, and that sort of shimmering, iridescent rainbow of color that it creates. And he's young, he's fit, but he's a little bit out of his element. Just a small bead of sweat trickling down his temple, and he has wrapped over his left arm a towel, and in his right, he's holding a small cup of tea. And he's hovering outside the door to the VIP, and you can hear him sort of running these lines in his head. He's saying, Your essence, your elegance, your majesty, shit, your highness, this is stupid. Okay. And he knocks on the door.
I walk over and I open it.
And he looks up and he sees her and pauses in a moment of panic and bows very, very deeply and just sort of holds there, not quite knowing what to do.
I bow back.
Oh, he didn't expect this. He bows even deeper.
I bow even deeper.
Ah, dude. He literally prostrates himself on the floor, his whole body out, his hands just near her.
Well played. I take the tea.
Okay. He stands. Your elegance.
Call me Bryn, please.
Bryn. Sorry, I obviously I haven't had an assignment before.
Me neither.
Okay, well, yeah, sure. I guess that's how it goes in both directions. I didn't know what kind of tea you would like, so I made green jasmine because it's my favorite.
Any tea, as long as it's hot, is good.
And he gestures towards the things that he has on his draped over his forearm, and he says, every once a month we're given a sort of an R&R day to leave the facility, and we don't work, so I don't have an income, but I have saved up here and there as I could, and these are it's silly. I didn't plan this. They're towels, and obviously now I'm looking at us. You're in a luxury VIP suite. I'm sure you have towels, but I heard they were very nice towels, and I just thought maybe you want the towels.
Love towels. Thank you so much.
And I say I have to tell you something.
What is that?
Well, I was going to be assigned to a different summoner, a younger summoner, one from a different planet, and the parallel assigned to you had been training to be with you for their whole life, and was ready and trained, and something happened. There was a training accident, and I'm a last minute replacement of sorts, so I have not actually finished my training, but I will serve you and protect you as best that I'm able to do.
Really, what I need is somebody to go on this adventure with me. I'm pretty capable of protecting myself, so you don't have to worry about that.
Of course. Oh my gosh, I did not mean offense. Of course you're a frickin' summoner. I can't believe I just said a frickin' summoner to the frickin' summoner. I just did it again. Of course you're able to protect yourself.
Here, I hand him the tea. Take a sip.
Okay. I take a sip. And I say, was that a test? I didn't. Oh no. I'm not sure whether I'm able to hand it back because I feel like now it has my cooties on it, so I just kind of hold the tea and I hold the saucer and I'm gesticulating with them. So I don't know how much you've heard about what the life is with your assigned, but I am bound to you for my life until I am dismissed or until I die. And there's, if you have time, something I'd like to show you.
Sure.
Would it be appropriate for us to step inside?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So he follows her inside, and when he gets in, he looks around for a bit and doesn't see an appropriate surface to tarnish, so he just sets the tea on the ground by the door. He says, "I don't know if you know this, but part of our selection, part of our training, we are capable of forming a psychic link. You and I. It's not automatic, and it's something that builds over time. But I thought that before we hit the planet, it would be wise for us to start the ritual and plant that link so that we can continue to build it as we adventure together."
Does that mean you can access my mind at any time?
No, not at all. I don't, and I wouldn't. There's a very strict code. I mean, if it were, I suppose, under a life and death circumstance that I needed to, I don't know, but it's not what I do.
Okay.
Okay.
I trust you.
He is taken aback for a moment and kind of hangs there with his mouth slightly agape, and then realizes that he's just staring, and pulls himself back together. And he says, it's a simple ritual. It's sort of a homegrown grassroots melody. Would you care to have a seat?" And he gestures towards a chair.
Okay.
One second. Do you have a washroom?
Do I have a washroom? Do you need a towel? I've got towels.
Oh, actually, yes. I should have brought towels.
You did bring towels. They're right here. You can use one.
Okay. He's quite flustered, but he goes into the washroom and he just fills a basin with just a little bit of water, brings a little bit of a little bar of soap, and returns. And he kneels down. Are you seated in a chair? Are you standing?
I'm sitting in like a little couch.
Oh, awesome. He just sort of kneels there and he says, "Your elegance." Sorry, Bryn. It's a simple act that I'm tasked to perform. I hope it doesn't make you feel strange, but in service to the idea of servitude, I'm here to wash your feet.
I mean, I've been traveling in these shoes for a couple days. Someone want to know about this?
Feet of the old guard masters for my entire life. I highly doubt that you could compete with theirs.
I don't like people touching my feet.
Of course.
Is there any other appendage you could wash?
Absolutely.
Like my hands, maybe?
That would be just fine.
Okay.
So
And I give him my hands.
So I just take one and I dot the towel into the water and just it's not an affectionate gesture. It's there's nothing sweet or intimate about it, but it's also not clinical. He's not doing this as a doctor. He's doing this as a pure act of service, and just carefully and methodically just wipes her hand, turns it over, and wipes the other side.
God, it wasn't my feet.
Is that an animal in that room behind you?
Oh yeah, this is my familiar. This is my companion.
I was like, saw that creature move for the first time.
Yep.
I'm an unobservant fellow. And so then he reaches into, I reach into my pocket. No, something funky is about to happen. And so as I'm doing this, it's just about done, and then I take the other end of the towel and I'm starting to dry it. And I don't necessarily even notice, but sort of the couch around where she's sitting starts to change texture and color just slightly. It looks like, kind of almost looks like there's moss growing on it and little flowers coming up from that moss. And if I look up and look directly at it, I don't see it. I just see the couch. But when I look back down again, I can kind of faintly get the sense that there's this small forest throne that's being created as I wash her hands. And then I reach into my pocket and I take out what kind of looks to be in the shape of a tooth. But the color is it's looks like a crystal. It's a million different colors at once, silver and gold and emerald and ruby and shining, and looks like and I place it in her palm, and it just hovers ever so slightly. And I say, as long as you have that with you, we'll be connected. And then I say, it's not my tooth. It's not my tooth. And I open my mouth and I show her.
I pick it up and I hold it up next to his teeth.
I say, I know. I thought
right
it looked like a tooth
I
too.
believe you.
Yeah.
So whose tooth is it?
It's not a tooth. And
Oh.
I say, no, I don't. It's not a tooth. It's not a tooth. And then I suddenly feel uncomfortable, like maybe I've jumped into the ritual too soon and I spent too much time here with her. So I stand up quickly again and I bow deeply and I say, is there anything that I can get you?
And I take this and I put it in an inner pocket of my pants. There's a pouch. I tuck it in there. And I say, no, but do you like moonberry pie?
I don't know. I've never had that before.
You had it?
No.
Oh my gosh, I brought some with me from my home planet here. And then I go over to the kitchen area and I have a little plate and I take a slice of moonberry pie and I put it on it and I cover it with a napkin and I give it to him.
This is to take with me?
Yeah. The cook where I live makes it and it's the best in all of the galaxy. I am not kidding. You will love it so much.
It smells incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you. And I bow a little deeper, and I turn around to go, and I accidentally knock over the cup of tea I placed at the doorway.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay. And so I start to walk out the door, but then I stop and I have a little pause, and then I go and I pick up the cup of tea because that is the right move to do, and I have the tea in the pie. And I bow and I say thank you again, and start to walk away, and then just pop my head back and to close the door. Would you like me to close the door, or I should leave it?
I got it. And then I'm gonna pick up my staff, aim it at the door, and close it with my staff.
Will you roll plus weird for me to use magic?
Yes. I got an 8.
Okay. There is a list of glitches that you need to choose one from, and I'm going to tell you
I can't even show off in my own
what
shit.
it does. You can either have
That's
the
you
effect.
showing up.
You can have the effect be weakened, of a short duration. You can hurt yourself. The magic will draw immediate and unwelcome attention, or it has a problematic side effect.
I think it's weakened and it only moves it like an inch.
Yeah, definitely.
And I say, I'm sorry, did I do that?
I just wanted to open. Get the
Okay.
crazy in here.
That's fine. Thank you again for the pie.
You're welcome.
Okay. As that scene closes, in later missions, this would be a time on Haven. I think that on the ship we will have time to explore inner character relationships and perhaps do some of these two people scenes. There's also things that the vessel offers. It is considered a haven in game terms, and so it has an armory that will allow you to do some things, a workshop, a lore library, an infirmary, and just the other places that a ship has. Because we are early in this, unless there's something that you are dying to do on the ship, I imagine we will not be utilizing these spaces yet. But I am open to you guys doing some stuff if you want to do some funky stuff. Otherwise, we're going to be moving forward. All right.
Pressing forward.
What's
Yeah.
that?
What's
Jesse,
that?
Connor, Trin, Brian, and Lisa. This is already amazing. Thank you.
Hell yeah.
Aaron,
Hey.
that was from Aaron Morrison. Yay!
All right. Thank you.
It was
Aaron was-
Jesse, Connor, Trin, Brian, and Lisa. So he named us all.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks. Aaron was watching the Aliens game we did a couple weeks ago, I think. I see your name in chat. I see your name in chat, Aaron Morrison.
I see you.
I see you.
Ooh, Jesse, do you want to talk about what they get to name if we hit our goal?
There's going to be a character that you're about to meet called the Captain. He will only be referred to as the Captain until the tip goal reaches $250, and then somebody gets to name him. So the Captain of Haven will be named by the audience at a certain time. But until then, he's just the Captain.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Do you eat the moonberry pie?
Bronze
Yeah, absolutely. I get back and I I just am sitting alone in my little bunk, and I pick it up with my hands, and the sort of moonberries fall out a little bit, and so I just pick it back and put them on top, and I eat it, and a single tear trickles down my face.
Okay.
Because
You're
it's
going- Sorry.
so delicious, and I didn't know what to expect from this first meeting. And all they teach us to not allow the summoner to set the tone, and so I approached it with no idea. This is someone that I'm going to be bonded to and serving my entire life, and she was so freaking cool, and it's just truly gotten me excited. And this I brought her some towels. She gave me some pie. We did a little gift exchange.
Also,
Classic.
the moonberries make your tongue glow for like 30 seconds.
Whoa! So I did drugs?
No, it's just an effect.
Because of the sweet aspect of that scene and how fun it was to watch, and the fact that you did eat the moonberry pie, your next roll of any kind will get a +1.
Yeah.
As you all are sitting, the parallel in his cabin, the summoner in her VIP suite, the professor in the workshop, and Rex, the problem solver, in the armory. An announcement is broadcast over Haven's loudspeakers, and you hear, "Yeah, this is your captain speaking, and we're excited to let you know that we've reached our destination. If I could get the landing party to report in the docking bay, that would be swell. Okay, see you soon."
He's a chipper fella.
Chipper fellow.
Hey.
I hate that guy.
As you go down, the Haven is a small ship in the grand scheme of galactic travel. It is 3 decks. The loading dock or the landing bay is on the bottom. you guys all kind of get there at the same time. You step off of a couple different lifts that come down from a couple different parts of the ship, and you are in the landing bay. There are several orbit-to-surface crafts that are just like limousines of drop ships, you know. They just fit the scheme of the company's luxury aesthetic, and it will just they just look fancy, they look fast, they look like they have armor, but that armor is kind of subtle. There's also a large almost teardrop shaped pod in the center of the landing bay, and it is cordoned off and under construction. The entire crew of the dock is robots. They look kind of like the guy who drives the spaceship at that Disneyland ride from back in the day in Star Wars. You know, they just look like little robot dudes. Somewhere between C-3PO and Bender from Futurama. They're just robots, you know? They're just cool. They're working the docking bay. They're cleaning stuff off. A couple of them are working on this strange pod in the middle of the docking bay. Professor, you know a little bit about it. It is an experimental landing craft that is being developed for extreme circumstances and quick entry to planets to just get through atmosphere and down to a planet's surface. They would be used for rescue missions. They cannot easily be returned to orbit. It's kind of a one-direction vehicle. They are unnamed as of now because they are prototypes, but the name that has been kicking around are void jumpers because of the technology. Hey! Because of the technology.
Oh, wow, whenever someone says void jumpers, right? Yeah.
They are. This is the only one, you know, and it's no coincidence that it is on the same ship that you've been traveling on. You've been lending some expertise, drawing up some schematics and working with the robots as they've been fixing it, but it's been largely constructed outside of your purview. But you line up outside the lifts, and the captain is waiting for you. He's a tall fellow, barrel-chested with a big belly, kind of a pompadour haircut and a nice mustache. He looks good, but a little bit too good, you know, a little bit too put on. He's trying very hard, but he's got good posture, and he struts over to you and he says, "Hey, glad to see you made it. All right, so we doing this or what?"
Sure are. Yeah. Can't wait.
All right, we prepared Craft 3 for you. We're going to have one of our robot pilots take you down to the surface. We're just going to stay in orbit, and when your mission completes, we'll be here to take you home.
Awesome. I walk up and shake his hand and say thank you for getting us here safely.
It was my pleasure.
Have I ever seen one of these things, in the flesh before? One of these
void jumpers?
Void jumpers?
Only this one.
Hey!
Only this one. It's the first of its kind. It's been put on this ship because they are hoping to test it. It's not quite finished yet, so I think that you've gotten the impression from Milt, your mentor, that he... Is that his name?
Yeah.
Probably. That he...
I think it's Milk, actually, with a K.
Milk. You've gotten the impression that he's maybe pressuring you to work on it and also test it. It's technically his project, but he's been assigned to this mission, as have you, and so they are bringing it because you will be in a position to try it. It seems dangerous. They drop it out of the bottom of the ship, and it is then jettisoned directly to the planet's surface.
The professor is extremely excited to see this, and quickly goes around it and does not really heed or care if other people are talking to him or about other important things. He's just very kind of like focused on looking at and feeling the surface and like taking notes and stuff like that and walking around and kind of stuff. And he's either talking to himself or talking to one of the many like little small robots that are around. Just in case, because maybe they can, I don't know, help him out to understand it better.
Yeah, you got any questions for him? So the captain is gesturing to a limo craft over to the right in docking bay 3. You walk past him and towards the void jumper. There are several robots currently working on it. They have little blast shields that are built into their foreheads that flip down every time that they're welding, and a couple of them are underneath on little rolling things that are they're tightening some stuff and messing with the wires. One of them's like directly interfacing with it by plugging something into his brain, and his eyes are just changing colors very fastly.
Oh, ingenious.
I really hope that if they speak, it is just the Minion's voice from Despicable Me.
I'm going to be disappointing you, and I just want to let you know in advance.
You only ever do, Jesse.
Do you have any specific questions for them? They know who you are, so they're not going to try and keep you away from the vessel. If it was anybody else, they probably would, but they're not going to mess with you.
Do we pilot it? What? Who flies this thing?
You won't be taking this. This thing's not done. It's just sitting in the middle of the docking bay. It's self-piloted. It's kind of just piloted by gravity. They just fly over the general area of where it needs to go and open the floor.
So it really just falls.
Yes.
It's less of a ship and more of a container that we were just
yes.
going.
The
No wonder
technology.
it's omnidirectional. If it just falls out of the ship, there's no engine.
The professor knows that a lot of what is going into it is about making what you just described, which sounds nuts, possible and safe. And so the technology is less about the ship itself or the engines on it. There's just like correctional engines that fire, have limited fuel reserves, but it's tapping into certain kinds of magic to make it something that you can live when it hits, which is extremely difficult and why it's been taking so long to finish. There's also things that they're using for contingency plans that are a little bit more black book that nobody's discussing, but the basic functions are known to you.
Cool.
But do you want to ask the robots anything?
Just small little things like what happens when you apply extreme heat to a certain central location. I mean, they have the things flopping down there. They're like welding and stuff like that. But I'm curious about like how much heat it can handle, and I have all these small little minutia questions.
Sure. You can see that the welding torches have been modified, and they are hooked up to. It's not like acetylene cans that are over off to the side. There are these spinning batteries that you recognize as Arcano batteries that are just like generating a fluctuating magical energy that is cycling through elements. And the torches, despite the fact that they're hooked up to these like nuke engines, are just like hitting the surface of the void jumper, and the heat is quickly dispersing. And so it's taking a very long time for them to either cut or mold on the surface of this. The metal has been enchanted in a way that is like stacked upon stacked upon stacked upon stacked of enchantments. And there are runes that have been like carved into it. There's like all kinds of stuff. Like it looks like a trash can that you drop out of a ship, but when you get closer to it, you can see that it's just this very dense, protected vessel.
I'm gonna pull out my journal and sketch it.
Cool.
So someone should probably stop him or call the professor back in, because he'll just keep on doing what he's doing until someone tells him to stop.
And is it
notes,
time? Is the captain gesturing towards this limo vessel as if it's our moment to hit the planet?
Yeah, he's you can see the pilot robot climbing into the cockpit. The captain pulls out a little fob and clicks it, and it goes boop, boop, and a door lowers on the dropship, and he says, "Yep, like I was saying, rather explicitly, we have
Egghead
over here available for you as soon as you're ready to go. It's been a long trip, and as much as I love driving people from one planet to another, we are scheduled to have you hit that planet today."
All right.
Time to get a move on. Come on, buddy.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
So I'll jump first into the little limo ship, and I'll look around and try to anticipate kind of what the nicest seat is, what sort of the premier arrangement is, and I'll just go brush it off a little bit and almost try to fluff the seats, but it's not like there are pillows on them, so I'm kind of just pressing a seat a little bit.
Yeah, there are two seats in back that are kind of like lazy boys, and then there are 11 other seats that are lining the bulkhead, and they look just more functional than anything else. You can tell that the VIP lounge chairs are in the center back of the ship. There is also a cargo space that is in a different section. The ship is small, but the back wall of where you're sitting does not go to the back of the ship. There is a cargo space between you and the engines, and the loungers are by the back wall. And then there's just some more like, like if you're sitting on the side of a helicopter or something, and you could strap in. And then there's
So I'll dust off both of these loungers just in case she picks one or the other, and then I'll stand in attendance sort of to the side. I won't take my seat yet.
Something's happening.
Void jumpers.
Void jumpers!
Yay! Thank you, Dan! Yay!
$5. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Little meta call out there.
I experimentally punched the sides of the craft just to see how strong it is.
You don't hurt yourself because you're tough as nails, Rex. But they're strong.
All right, feel safe.
It's expensive,
I get inside.
is what you realize. That this craft looks like a luxury vessel, but it's like you can tell that there's not only reinforced plating, but some kind of like stealth technology that's been implemented into it. So it's one of those things where they're transporting important people in it. So they want the important people to be comfortable and safe. And so those are the two priorities, and they have the money to go all the way on both aspects. So it's nice. The captain kind of eyeballs you when you're punching the side of the ship, but he doesn't say anything.
That's because the captain knows what's good for him.
The captain's not coming. The only people, just so you guys know before we decide who goes into the ship next, your mission is just going to be the four of you. You have a pilot taking you down to the surface who will not be accompanying you on the mission. This is the mechanic mission, the mechanical aspect of your mission that you would all know. Bryn has been invited to the Preserve, which is the name of this planet, by Alchemical Elixir, the Bloom Element Summoner. This invite is a favor to Bryn's mother. Summoner Langurium is to show Bryn around the Preserve, specifically one of the Preserve's largest seed manufacturing
what are the odds that
facilities.
The captain ends up named Captain McCaptain Pants. Captain would be his first name, of course, so the full name plus title would be Captain McCaptain Pants.
Thanks, Burke.
Thanks, Burke. At Bryn's mother's request, Summoner Langurium has agreed to counsel the aspiring summoner on the best practices when dealing with the company. The company has offered to send you there in style and provide accommodations/security, which is these two here. And that's it. So
these two is the doctor and Rex?
The doctor and Rex. Yeah. You got a problem solver and an Arcano engineer that are going to go down to the planet with you, but it's just the four of you.
Jesse, I'm sorry, one more time. So, tell me how the company is involved in this. Because Langurium is not affiliated with the company. The Langurium is not.
No, there's a close relationship between the company and each of the summoner families. It is usually tied to the element that their planet has an abundance of. The company does not rule over the planets. The summoners do. But in order to create a galactic ecosystem, the summoners rely on the distribution model and manufacturing capabilities of the company. It is a symbiotic relationship. So while the summoner houses these seed manufacturing facilities that provide much of the galaxy with the agricultural needs, the company owns the facility. And so it's kind of like your house is on my land situation. Sure. So because you're going to be touring the company's facilities, the company is going to escort you to them and ensure that you have a good time.
And we're touring the company's facilities just as the thing to do, but ultimately it's about Bryn meeting Summoner Langurium.
It's a diplomatic escort mission. Bryn is just going to meet a politician, and you guys are there. You have a very specific mission that is now your life mission, but the company is just there to facilitate this.
Great.
Have we been formally introduced?
You and the summoner?
No. Me and Rex and the doctor.
I will let you make that decision. Your flight has been several days. Have you guys hung out?
I would think so. I
haven't met Tag yet, so.
Okay. Well, in that case, hello, Bryn. You're excellent. I'm not exactly sure on what to.
Just Bryn. Bryn's totally
Okay.
fine.
Sorry. Yeah. You may call me Baxter, or you can call me Doctor or Professor. Lots of names I got.
Can I call you the Doctor?
You can call me the Doctor. I've heard that
All
one a couple of times as well. But really looking forward to our business relationship here. I hope we can learn a lot from each other.
And what are you a doctor of?
Oh, what am I not a doctor of? Oh my goodness. Not medicine. Like all of the other bits, all of the other things that one can study. I've really basically been focusing my whole life into gaining as much knowledge as I can to do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is a dream come true. I'll tell you that.
Good to hear. It's nice to meet you.
And
then I look at Rex. Hi.
Hi. I'm Rex.
Rex.
I'm here to keep you safe.
Keep me safe.
Just
Okay.
Rex. It's fine.
Just Rex. Okay.
Rex, does you keeping people safe? Is that just for Bryn, or is that kind of a collective
We can
party
focus on
thing?
you, for sure.
Yeah, I can protect the weakest member. If that's what the team needs.
Okay, well, that's good news for me.
All right.
Okay.
We're not going to get into trouble. We're just going to have some fun. With some business slapped in.
That's why I'm here.
So the squire is in the vessel already, dusting off some chairs. Who enters next?
I can't wait to get inside.
The professor jumps inside. There are
Yeah.
2 very comfy chairs and 11 uncomfortable chairs. Where would you like to sit?
Well, I see. What's the scene that I see? I see Tag. Is he still pushing on a seat and making sure it's comfortable?
No, I'm just standing at attention next to one.
Fair enough. Okay. I'll go ahead and I'm gonna get closest to the cockpit or whatever, like where all the bells and whistles and dials and knobs are.
Sure.
And then I say after you. It's Rex.
And I say, absolutely not. You first.
Oh, okay. I don't put up a fight, but I mentally record that and write it down in my journal really quick. And then I get into the ship.
Refused to go first.
Has control issues.
Okay. Bryn, you get into the ship. The professor is sitting next to the seat closest to the cockpit, and the steward or the servant is the squire. Sorry.
Squire. Hey, these are all appropriate. There's not a wrong answer here.
The Castellan. Yeah.
Not a lot of ego going around for old Tag. He sees her come in, and there's nothing to do more, so he just stands better.
I walk to the nice recliners, and I take my staff out of my back, and I stick it on the recliners, and I take a seat in one of the hard seats. And I gesture to him to sit across from me.
So I do. I
All
pretend like I didn't even notice the fancy recliners.
Rex, you climb aboard.
Yeah, and I go immediately. I assess the inside of the ship and sit in the spot where my back is protected and I can see everybody else and everything else.
Okay.
But before I sit down, I throw everybody their survival packs.
Okay.
And I say, take care of it. You only get one.
Oh.
Survival pack.
Okay, I think your best seat is going to actually be to sit next to Tag. It'll give you a view of the door and also everybody else.
So I glance at him uncomfortably and sit closer to another human than I would like to, but it is the best spot to be in, so I sit down.
Okay. Professor?
All of our things that we would have gotten ready to bring down to this planet, have they already been loaded, or are they on our person right now, or what's going on?
The way that I see it is you can have your items. I think it's just I'm not planning to necessarily fuck with you about it, but so if you want all your items on you, you can have them. If you want them in the cargo storage, you can have them there. They would have been brought down if you wanted, but I just assumed that you guys were all packing.
Yeah, I have all my gear in a stowaway where that goes.
Okay, that would be either under the seats.
I am the very model of a modern Major General. I've information, vegetable, animal and mineral. I know the kings of England and I quote the fights historical from Marathon to Waterloo in order categorical.
Holy smokes!
Well,
$200.
We hit our goal.
Wow! Way to go! Thank you very much.
The captain will remain a mystery no longer.
Yeah. I imagine we're going to figure out how the captain gets named. It will happen before our next session. Does that happen now, Lisa? Do you know?
I think our mod can do a contest in chat, and he will figure that out.
Okay, excellent. 1,000 thank yous. 1,000 thank yous. We're gonna let this captain get named, and I will find out shortly.
I believe that's Merc.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Is
Okay.
Merc our mod? Mercury?
Our mod is Mark. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mercury.
Sweet. The captain, the soon-to-be named captain, walks over. Brian, the professor. Your gear would be stowed. You can either have it stowed in the cargo bay, as though it were brought down for you, or you can just have it stowed underneath the seat, or above you if you want.
I'll go with the latter.
Okay, the seat.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so it's just in your gears underneath your seat. The captain pokes his head into the luxury dropship, and he says, "Yeah, all right. So we're all having a good time, getting settled in. That didn't take too long. We are scheduled to be returning to the Fire Planet by tomorrow evening, and I personally love keeping the schedule. So if we could keep this visit on track, all of us here on the ship who have been driving you around would appreciate it. Okay. Now remember, have a good time. And I'll see you tomorrow night when you are scheduled to be back here."
I salute him as sarcastically as possible.
It's not wasted on him. He just doesn't care. All right. And he leaves. On his way out, he just over his shoulder hits that, and the door closes. The ship is on a circular platform that rotates towards what is like a type of force field that reveals space through it, but you can tell that it's a type of magical membrane, so that the docking bay does not need to be cleared in order for vessels to exit it.
Ooh,
And
love it.
it takes off. You are now flying through space. There aren't any windows where you can see them, but as you are flying, the door to the front near the cockpit slides open, and you can see the robot pilot. Let me just catch up on my notes, y'all.
In the meantime, I'm taking some deep breaths because I will never admit it to anyone, but I do get a little space sick sometimes.
Okay.
I notice and try to see if I can take your pulse just from afar.
Just looking at it.
I look at, and I recognize this because I got sick on my planet, and I tell Rex, if you pinch right here, it's a pressure point, and it aids in nausea and motion sickness. It helps me when I'm in a pinch.
I look at her suspiciously, but it does seem to be helping.
All right. You guys are flying, and the door slides open, and through the front, you can actually see through the pilot's windshield a huge green world. It is very green. And as you're flying down, the robot says, "All right, y'all, taking you down to the surface, eh?"
There you are, Captain Pants.
I am CNAC 88. and I am your pilot robot for this journey. I am excited to be going down to the preserve. At that moment, you enter atmosphere. You are at such an angle, and the craft is of such a technology that it is not that jarring. There is a slight rumble. You do feel it, but there's not much else to it. And you start cruising down towards the planet. And he says, how many of y'all been to the preserve before? Nobody? Wow, you're in for a treat. He pushes a button on the front of the vessel, and windows open up all along the sides. And you can now see down into... All right. The captain of the Haven has been named...
Oh, man.
Captain Matt Vansel.
Perfect.
It was wonderful.
There needs to be a Vansel maneuver.
I will make a note to create one. We will find out who named the captain, and we will give kudos where kudos are due.
It was Fadior.
All right. Say it one more time, Lisa, would you?
Fadior?
All right, Fadior, Captain Matt Vansel. Congratulations. So out the sides of the window, you can see just as you're getting, lower and lower down, the planet is very large. What you know about the energy and the elements of this solar system is that each planet specializes. It has a special link to the continuum, which acts as the sun of this galaxy. And they all have a bond to a frequency almost of the magic that makes up the star. This planet is bound to the bloom element, which is associated with life, specifically plant life. And the planet is one huge jungle as far as you can see. CNAC88 says, in the distance, that's the facility over there. And you can see that there's what looks like a science outpost, a large factory out in the trees. There's been a clearing around it, but taking photos, yes. But it is it's pretty far away. You're not quite close enough yet. And then he says, and over there nearby, he points over to a larger clearing where there seems to be a colony. And you're used to seeing settlements like this. They're a rugged place, but the people on these worlds know how to survive, and they've refined how to do it. And so while these structures are utilitarian, they are durable and elegant in how minimal they are. And so there's not much flair to this place, but it does look established. He says, yeah, that's the nearby colony. It's where most of the workers of the seed plant live. It's called Homestead. That's where we're going to be landing. I actually have a few crates in the cargo bay that I'll be unloading. The company's doing a little construction there. They're expanding living quarters because, they're just starting to send more and more scientists there. I'm starting to turn into Milt.
Mm-hmm.
Country guy.
Sorry, milk, I believe.
I'm going to make a note of that as well. He says, now, I have never been here before, but the company has installed me with the latest tour guide programs, so I am bubbling with knowledge, and I can't wait to tell you all about it. And right as he says that, the facility that he pointed out to, there's a bright flash, and what looks like a dome of green energy expands out of the center of it. There's a second flash, and that dome explodes, and you see a wall of green energy crashing towards your vessel. It's gigantic. It's starting to fill the entire sky. You have a feeling that if you had boots on the ground, this would be a considerable seismic event. But this wall of green energy is now very quickly approaching you. CNAC88 says, all right, forgive me. My programming's going to inhibit me from sounding stressed out, but this is an emergency situation, and I'm going to need y'all to buckle up immediately. He slams a button, and the ship starts to roll and dive down to the planet as though he's trying to do a vertical U-turn to now outrun the blast of energy that is flying towards you. The ship is starting to shake, and you get the impression that you are now hitting the wave of energy that has come before the explosion started to catch up to you. And then there's a loud crash as the sound catches up last. The ship tumbles and starts to fall out of the sky as the energy washes over you. It actually comes into the ship and passes over everybody. Lisa, roll plus weird. Connor, roll plus weird.
9.
Also 9. Fine, buddy. What's up?
2. It's a 2.
You
Dual
guys
Niners.
Tooth team.
feel, in the moment it passes over you, the connection that you have begun to form strengthens faster than you thought possible. At the same time, you feel that sensation that Tag felt earlier, where out the corner of his eye, it felt like there were plants and trees growing to form a throne. Only this time, they are filling the entire inside of the cabin. However, when you turn to look, they're not actually there.
My God.
When you do turn to look, however, Bryn, you see that your staff, which is covered in 6 clear gems, is crackling with energy. All power gets cut in the ship, and it starts to fall out of the sky. What do you do?
Oh man.
Grab my staff.
You got it. Actually, the ship is almost vertical. You're going to need to roll Act Under Pressure to see if you can unstrap from your seat and get to the staff.
Is that plus tough?
It's plus cool.
Okay. Oh, the 6.
That is a failure.
I know.
The straps on your seatbelt will not open until you yank them. You are then thrown backwards, bounce off of... The ship is now pointed straight, so backwards means up in a sense, because the nose of the ship is falling straight towards the planet. You bounce into the Lazy Boy recliners, roll over them as your staff and you smash into the back of the vessel and are held by momentum to the wall.
Are you still going, Lisa?
Can I still? I mean, where's my staff? Am I holding it?
No, you're kind of both stuck to the back wall. It is right outside your reach.
I'm just going to be trying everything I can to reach it.
Okay.
I'd like to do something if I may.
Yes.
All right. Do I have my boots that I mentioned before?
That's up to you. They won't have the power that you wanted, but you could have an empty prototype that are ready to be powered. If you think you would bring empty prototype boots to the planet, you're welcome to have them.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, like, they might not do exactly what I told you before, but like maybe these are magnetic instead of like, you know, weird magical energy or something.
Sure.
Basically, the point is you're talking about a spaceship that was like this and now is doing like this, and because of gravity, everyone's kind of hanging out on top. What I want to do is I want to get out of my seat and point my feet in the direction of the cockpit to make myself get there, so I can mess with some controls.
Okay. I'm gonna let you use your boots to get to the cockpit without a problem.
Okay.
But you are hanging on. It is very difficult. You get to the cockpit. What do you want to do?
I'm a brilliant mad scientist folk person, and so I would like to do some weird science, and I'd like to try to see if I could make this the power start or jump start or some sort of thing, maybe like reset it, reverse the polarity, pick your sci-fi.
Pulls out a screwdriver and tries to start the engine. Yeah.
Sure.
Wiggle the flux capacitor.
Exactly.
Well, What you're going to want to do...
Take out the cartridge, blow on it, put it back in.
Rub one of the hyperdrive cores between your palms.
You're going to read a bad situation first. So roll plus sharp.
That sounds excellent. I'm going to roll plus sharp right now. All right. That would be 8 plus 2 is 10.
All right. Do you have the Hunter reference sheet up in front of you?
Yes, I do.
All right. So for read a bad situation, when you roll a 10 plus, you get to hold 3. You can ask me 3 of these questions.
Okay. I'm going to... what is the best way to protect the victims?
You will need to get the ship started again, or find a way to not crash with it when it crashes.
Okay. All right. Let's see. How about, are there any dangers we haven't noticed?
Yes. You notice that CNAC 88 has also been powered down. The entire ship, it's not on at all. Like it doesn't look like there's emergency lights flashing. You know, typically in these types of vessels, especially one as expensive as this, when the main power goes down, a backup generator of some kind or an emergency system kicks on. Nothing is on. There are no blinking lights. There is no sound, and the robot's down too.
Okay. All right. And I have one last question. Let's see. Can I? So, I would like to focus on the robot to try to get it powered up first. I assume that's probably the best first step. In that case, my third question would be, what is the best way in?
What is
the best way to do that?
Robots are powered by void energy, and if you could use void energy in some way on this thing's generator, you could potentially jumpstart the robot easier than it would be to jumpstart the spaceship.
All right.
We're going to pause there and cut to either Tag or Rex.
All right. I'm going to step in the sort of D&D world where this is all happening at the same time. I'm going to take a baby step back from what Brian's doing. And in that moment that the blast is coming at us, I kind of want to freeze, to think that Tag doesn't have an idea. This is his first true test to be there for his bond, and nothing's coming to him, and he just closes his eyes and takes a deep breath in. And what I'd like to happen is, for reasons beyond him, it's not his goal to do anything, but I think in that inhale, there's a kind of vacuum and some of that green energy of that blast, just in his desperate desire for nothing bad to come to this person that he's been sworn to protect, that desperate desire to prevent that first failure. You know, that will is channeled towards like a sucking in of that perceived source of danger.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'll keep going unless you want me to check on that.
This sounds like it's going to be a plus weird roll.
Yeah.
You just want to harness.
What I ultimately wonder is if I want to say what I, Connor, the player, want to happen, because I don't think that he is trying. Tag is not trying to do this, but I wonder if like that sort of parallel order autopilot kicks in, and he's able to like suck in some of that power, and you know, like it dispels, and if in dispelling it, what comes out, if that is any sort of shock to the system of this ship.
Sure. Let's use your move of disruptive
Psychic
counter.
Persuasion? Oh, okay, yeah.
So you have some rules that we're just going to roll on. You're going to roll plus weird to start.
Great. Just so it doesn't seem like I'm hiding anything from our audience, I'm going to just read this move, Disruptive Counter. When elemental magic is... I was trying to talk about it before in a sort of a roundabout way, but let's just read it. When elemental magic is used in your vicinity, you have the option to disrupt its effects. You may accomplish this by using your psychic abilities. This may only be used as a reaction to magic, takes all of your focus and counts as your turn for the round. So, my hope is to, just clarify that he's not trying to do that. Anyway,
Have you tried turning it off and back on again?
Darn it! Did we not?
Aaron Morrison.
It's so funny.
He says, "Thanks, Aaron Morrison, for the $25. Have you turning it off and turning it back on again?" Aaron,
Brian,
that is exactly what I'm going to do.
Did you try
that?
Wait 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I yell up to the front. Is it plugged in? All right, my roll plus weird is, with that additional +1 from the Moonberry Pie, 13.
All right. So, 10 plus. Okay, so the first part of this is the flavor text as you get inside your target's head. In this case, the elemental magic is being cast not by a person. Right. So choose a glitch from the list below and tell us what happens to this, for lack of a better word, spell that is being rolling over you. You just get to, as the player, choose one of these glitches and tell us how it affects the story.
Well, this might be a little bit cheating. I'm going to ask you and our other players to check me here, because I now know that void energy is what's required. So how much reverse engineering would I be guilty of to play that into the effects of this?
You wouldn't be guilty, because it is common knowledge that all spacecraft, anything that can travel through space, is also powered by void energy.
Duh. Of course we all knew that.
Yeah.
Even I know that. And I only know punching.
Okay, so that's my goal, to suck it in, and it kind of just crackles out with a little surge burst of that void energy.
Okay, so the wall of green energy, when it's passing in front of you, starts to bend around you as though there's an egg-shaped force field around you, and the green energy turns into a purple energy. As it goes by, that void energy crackles and explodes. We're going to freeze time at that moment. I imagine at that moment, it is the same moment that Bryn is popping out of her seat and flying to the back of the thing. The professor is jumping out of his chair, magnet booting into the cockpit and finding out about the robot. What is Rex doing?
Quietly panicking.
Okay.
Because an enemy that I cannot see and cannot fight is my worst nightmare.
Okay.
Damn you, gravity.
What would
green mist? I cannot punch thee.
I take a few more deep calming breaths, and I decide I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to trust my gut and do it.
Okay, you're using trust your gut?
Yeah.
Okay,
what is this?
This is a modification that has been made, I believe, in the expansion to Monster of the Week in the Tome of Mysteries. It is an alternate use magic. So Trin's character is not allowed to use magic because she's taking a different thing. Use magic wouldn't be as effective for her character because she's a bruiser. So she's switching use magic for trust your gut. When you consult your instincts about what to do next, roll plus weird. Note that your gut will point you somewhere important, but it does not care about your concerns right now. The current mystery is just one important thing amongst many for your hunter. So roll plus weird.
Double sixes.
All right.
Whoa!
You know, because you made sure you knew before you guys took off, that all 11 of these chairs and the 2 lazy boys have parachutes built into the seat cushions in the same way that airplanes in our world have life vests. And so there are, on this vessel, 13 parachutes in the passenger cabin. And they are in the seat chairs. All right. Which puts us back to Bryn, who has been flung to the back of the cabin. and is now reaching for her staff as she is pinned to the wall by the momentum of the vessel, which is plummeting towards the planet's surface.
Okay, I need to get the staff. What is Tag doing exactly right now?
You've just seen the green energy wrap around him and change as though it was transforming into purple energy and explode off of him.
Is my magic only done while holding the staff?
No. You have... These are some questions that I think we will have you answer.
Okay.
The staff is an heirloom artifact from your family that amplifies magic, but the ability to cast magic is in your blood. It is in your family's blood. It is why that they are summoners that rule over planets.
Okay, then I would like to use, if I may...
You may.
Force of will.
Okay.
To suspend a phenomenon or an effect. The effect on the ship temporarily. I want to suspend what's happening long enough for us to gather and make a plan.
Fuck yeah. Roll plus weird.
And I'm... Okay. God, don't fail me. We have luck too, don't we?
You do. You have
Failure
7.
is fun, Lisa. We learn so much from it.
We also have a GM who's going to be real creative with our failure rolls. So it's a win-win either way.
That's an 8 without...
Okay, that's good. That's a partial success.
We can't use all our good rolls in the beginning like this, you know?
I'm just trying to buy us time, not even do anything fancy.
Look, I'm just thinking about that cold open with the tail and the ooze and the spindly legs.
I just want to get out of the ship.
All right. So, as Bryn is reaching for the staff, she realizes that the 3 inches between her and the staff are not the problem. The ship crashing is the problem. There is a moment immediately following the explosion of purple energy, which washes over you guys in the opposite direction of the green, in which the howling wind, the sound of roaring flames, and just this general blood in ears rush goes completely silent. And then everybody sees Bryn go, "Ah!" and fall straight down into the cockpit and land on the windshield because the vessel has inexplicably stopped in midair. Bryn, before you fall, the blood vessels in both your eyes rupture. You take 1 harm from exerting so much force over this natural phenomena that you feel the pressure in the marrow of your bones. The professor also is jolted forward, but his boots keep him on his feet, and it's a strange scenario. The other 2 who are locked in their harnesses are just jerked. The spaceship's now frozen in midair. Professor.
As Bryn flies past me and hits the windshield with a meaty crack, I pause from what I'm doing to politely say, "Oh, hello, Bryn," and then I continue with what I was doing. I believe I have a +1 from let's see, knowing what's going on or read a bad situation, because I got a +3, which gives me a +1 to my next roll if I act on that. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yes, if you're acting on the information that you learn from reading a bad situation, you get a +1 ongoing the entire time you're acting on that. Pina colada?
I was just given a very fancy drink by my my daughter. That's
excellent.
Wonderful.
Wow.
Thank you. All right. So, hold on.
Can we make that a reward level where someone just brings us a fancy drink?
Yeah.
Ooh, there's like
Great.
melon. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. So,
Starting to get a little mean. Really rubbing your melony beverage in my face here.
Well, I also have a cute little daughter bringing it to me, so there's that as well. I'm going to do some weird science. When I want to create or adapt a device to analyze or deal with strange phenomenon, say what it will do in roll plus weird. Yeah, I basically want to take this Eric's that I have of void
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to see if I can jumpstart the robot pilot.
Sure. First of all, let's just see what your role is so we can see what kind of parameters we're going to have for what happens. This is also an alternate move. Brian has replaced Use Magic with Weird Science. It is from the Tome of Mysteries as well, I believe. I will do a little bit more homework, but I think it's from the expansion. It's in the revised Use Magic rules. So yeah, just roll plus weird.
My backpack is all been retrofitted with all kinds of cool things to give me stuff, and one of the things is like it's basically like when I want something, it just kind of like pops into my hand on the side. It's more intricate than that, but that's pretty much what it visually happens, and this pops in my hand.
Okay.
And now I'm going to roll. There you are. 5 and 3, 8, and that's plus. Sharp, which is 2, so 10 plus 1, 11.
All right, so here's what's up. There's a restriction on your Void Erics. It can only be used as ammunition for your weapon, but with an 11, you know that with your dope science kit, I just imagine you have like a pouch full of sciencey stuff that we will not define until we need it.
Sure.
It's
like way cooler than a fanny pack. It's essentially a fanny pack, but it's way cooler.
You know that you could load this Eric's into your experimental cannon and then use a cable to hook the cannon to the robot and transfer energy.
I like it.
Okay.
Excellent.
So on a 10 plus, you pick one requirement. That's you. So from the list under weird science requirements, I think just the Eric's could count for a rare or weird material if you'd like.
Yeah.
And
that's what I thought too.
Describe to us how you do this.
Okay. Well, similar as this kind of like I reach back to grab the thing that I want, and this kind of pops into my hand. Similarly speaking, like there on my backpack, there's like a little thing that kind of like kind of comes out like this, and it's a little mini cannon, very akin to a Predator thing that to moving it all about. It's very similar to kind of like a puppet that's on my shoulder that's omnidirectional. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like open up like a deal and then like it just almost magnetically kind of like pops inside and sockets perfectly. And then I take out some of the cable and connect the two small little like soldering piece right there. And then stretch it over the robot in this appropriate place, solder it there, then turn it on.
It makes...
I just want to take that clip, but recaption it as Brian explains, like human sexuality or something. Just pop it up.
An omnidirectional Muppet creature comes out of my back.
Two little robots?
The cannon pulses as though it had been fired, but no energy escapes the barrel. Instead, the cable lights up, and CNAC 88 goes, "Good Lord, we're crashing!" and it hits a button on the dash. And as he speaks, you can tell that it's coming from a wind-up, so it's more like, "Good Lord, we're crashing!" and he hits a thing. You hear a compartment explode out the back of the ship, and then there's nothing. And then very slowly you see the inside of a parachute settle down onto the windshield as whatever just exploded out the back is now settling onto this frozen spaceship. Bryn, whatever you did to do this leapt outside of your control. You have a very tenuous grasp of the power being exerted to maintain it, and it feels like whatever you're doing or did to hold this spaceship, it's fracturing. And
where's my staff? Did it fall with me?
It's right next to you.
Okay.
You both just fell into the thing, so it's there if you want it. But what is Tag doing?
I see Bryn go whizzing past my view, and I say, "Shit!" And I start fumbling with my seatbelt. We're suspended in air,
Oh,
right?
Connor,
Right?
I'm sorry. I forgot to honor a roll that you had earlier, if I may.
Please.
At the end of the professor's turn, when he's turning around to replace the tool into his bag, he notices on the dashboard that the emergency light is now blinking after your explosion of void energy, and it seems to have kicked some kind of juice back into this ship. You don't know how much, which is why the robot was able to shoot the parachute. So the maneuver you did where you diverted the spell into void energy had success in that. There is power in the ship now. You're not sure how much.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. And so the robot smashed and I am to understand that the emergency button poofed out the butt of the ship, and a parachute would have caught us float, but because we're suspended in air, just kind of like sadly drooped itself.
Sadly,
Yes.
Like a very
down.
melancholy Marie Antoinette just lounging about the hood of the ship.
Exactly.
That's a little for all you Marie Antoinette fans out there.
Which there are many.
Okay. I don't know how long this is going to last. I do unbuckle my chute thing. I've just seen her whiz past, and I turn back around, and I'm locking eyes with Rex. And I just kind of, in this what seems like a fraction of time where people can connect before shit is about to get crazy again, in the eye of the storm, I just kind of give almost a helpless shrug, like a what? Rex?
I acknowledge his helpless shrug with a quick "what's up" nod. But I have moved past my helplessness, and I loudly say to everybody, "Hey, we got parachutes on this dumb thing, you idiots!" And I, reach under my seat, grab mine, and then start reaching under the other seats and grabbing the other parachutes and just throw them to everybody.
Sure. Because of the way the ship is hanging, you only have to let go, and they fall right down into the cockpit where everybody can grab them.
And I kind of try and aim to hit them in the head.
Okay.
But I'm not trying too hard to do
Roll
that.
act under pressure.
So if I've unclipped myself, I've got to be hanging on.
Yeah, you have to be hanging on.
Okay, cool.
What is the +2 act under pressure? There we go. Plus cool. 10. No. 9.
Bryn's lands right in her hands. The professor's lands on his back. He manages to grab it. And the robot gets smacked with it as soon as the professor swings the parachute around. The robot bounces forward and hits another button, and you feel the engines kick back on. The ship is still frozen in place. The engines are blasting, and the ship is starting to twist in the middle as though it is tearing itself apart.
Oh my god, guys, I can't hold this much longer. Get
And
off
the robot says, "What the heck?"
I don't want to cut us off at what seems like a very exciting moment, but I would love to advocate for a quick tech break soon.
Yes.
Tech/bio break.
I think we've got one round of turns before we're in a pause. Unless that needs to be this second.
You may lose my feed before then.
Let's pause right here as the ship is starting to tear itself apart. May we take a quick 2, y'all?
Oh, 2.
Thanks, team.
2.
Welcome back.
Boy jumpers, jump in the void.
We left off with the spaceship being held in the air. Rex just tossed some parachutes down to her friends after finding them beneath the seats. Bryn caught one expertly. The professor barely managed to grab his, but it did smack the robot in the back of the head and smack him into a safety button, which kicked the engines back on. The ship is now suspended in air. The engines are starting to twist it forward, and you can feel the structural integrity of the drop ship crumbling. What do you do?
Gosh, it seems as though right now we have a ship that's suspended in air, and with a bunch of its jetpacks, like wanting it to force itself to the ground because it's nose down.
You can also see that the parachute is on fire.
Oh yeah, okay.
So there is just a lot of fabric over the windshield close to where you are. It's just flames. You can no longer see outside the vessel. There's just fire all over you.
Okay, all right.
Fire outside the ship? Like we
Fire
would
outside the ship, yeah.
jump out into fire, essentially.
Maybe.
The fire that you're referring to is the parachute that's currently ablaze. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, polypropylene or whatever it is you know. So I don't know if that we can save the ship.
As it's in two pieces,
I think
further twisting into more.
I think we might have to like open up yield side door and hop out with some personal parachutes.
So do I understand correctly that
Fixed it.
do I understand correctly that the ship is still, as it's twisting apart, it's still nose to the ground, and I'm kind of in the back?
Yes.
Okay, and I see down, we've got in the cockpit the doctor, Bryn, and the robot.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm going to shout down, move over! Scoot just a little bit.
See?
Yes.
Who are you yelling?
Yes, in the cockpit. Just a little hair.
Good.
I'm trying to keep it together. I can't move.
So is there a clean patch of windshield that doesn't have a person on it right now?
Sure. It's a rather large vessel, and the windshield is rather large as well. So yes. There is
Okay.
still a person on the windshield, but there is a clean path to it.
Oh, I totally forgot about her.
That's because you were like, hello, Bryn. So I can't imagine if this ship is twisting apart and on fire and the back has been blown out and nose to the ground for who knows how much longer. The thoughts going through my head are to get the three of them to climb back up to try to jump out the back against gravity and against the torquing of this ship. I don't think we have time for that. So I'm going to take out my bladed tonfa, and essentially I take that out, and it's bladed in two directions. The blade extends a little bit past my knuckles here and a little bit past my elbow here. I'm going to take a deep breath. I'm still holding onto the chair behind me, and I'll kind of position myself for what is going to be the first intergalactic people's elbow. And then I'll release the seat, my hand on the seat, start flying down the body of this ship, elbow, blade of tonfa out to try and crack the windshield upon my landing, hoping we
Sure.
can just...
As Tag is falling through the air, blade first, aimed towards the windshield, we cut away. We are now in a large chamber designed to hold several hundred people. It is very old. All of the furniture is carved directly from rock, as though this chamber were once a solid mountain that had been hollowed out. And in the course of that, the forethought of design had also crafted into it intricate archways, pillars, benches, and altar. We see Tag standing on a dusty dais towards the front of the structure. And in front of him, there are 3 robed and hooded figures. Their faces are hidden. One of them extends out the blade that was just described to you. That figure says, Tag, your oath has been activated. And congratulations, you have been awarded this void blade. Its shape has been hewn in the contours of your personality, its edge as sharp as your wit.
Masters, I'm humbled and I'm grateful, but I'm not ready for this. This was not my assignment. This was Violet's. I haven't even finished my training yet.
Violet, as you know, is no longer a part of our order. Through her inaction during a trading simulation, one of her fellow parallels was killed. While we do not condone capital punishment, we have exiled Violet. You are now here because the all-seeing force has denoted that you are to take Violet's place. It is not our destiny to question. It is our destiny to align.
Nor do I question, Masters, but I know my skills and I know what I don't know, and I worry for Bryn that she would have such an incomplete squire.
What do you know of the origins of the name of our sect, Tag?
I know what I learned, what you told me when I came in, that the Order Parallel has existed as long as magic, as long as time, that we are not the needle, we are the thread that follows behind.
Well put. We are a reactionary endeavor, Tag. We must have another in order to parallel, in order to align. We are not singular. We only have control over our ability to recognize those we must align to. You will go to Bryn. You will be bound to her. Your fate is sealed within her own, and while you will not have a clear picture of what that is, you will have a clear picture of what this order expects of you.
Yes, Masters.
And you take the Void Blade.
I reach out, imagining that I'm just going to grab it from them, but when I get within 6 inches, there's a sudden vibration, almost as if I hit my funny bone, but not located here, just throughout my whole arm, and the blade just comes to me.
And in that moment, we cut back to the ship, and you are flying through the air, blade first. And you need to roll, I believe, act under pressure.
Okay. Ha! All right, coming in with a hot 6.
A hot 6?
A hot 6.
All right, cool.
I will be first marking experience for that failed roll.
Please do. A mechanic of this game is that every time one of the hunters rolls a failure, they also get an experience point. When they get 5 experience points, they level up.
Oh,
I didn't know that. That's
I didn't know that either. I already failed once.
Failure
So-
is cool, guys.
With the
That's
6,
called it all. I wanted to point that out.
you do exactly what you set out to do. And you perform the very first ever intergalactic people's elbow. You fly straight and true and collide with this windshield, and it explodes outwards. You barely miss the professor. You barely miss Bryn. And then the two of you, you and the summoner that you are bound to, are falling free of the vessel, which is on fire and tearing itself apart above you. And as you realize that you just did the coolest thing you've ever done, you remember that you forgot to grab a parachute on your way down.
There, that is a failed roll.
Professor. Oh, I guess you know what? More pressing. Bryn, what do you do?
He just blasted my seat, basically, what I was laying on. So
You
now
were
we're
laying on a windshield.
that he
You would-
broke.
Yeah, that he broke, and now you two are falling
That's
free.
a very accusatory tone. I think we can all pull back a little bit on our finger pointing here.
Hey, listen, be nice to me, and I'll save you. Okay, how close is he to me?
How close are you to her?
Us, we're flying through space, right? We're like plummeting towards the ground.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you saying to me, be nice to me and I'll save you? I think we are not quite. We couldn't touch each other, but we could, if we reached out, come very close.
I'm going to. Well, I'm going to use my staff to pull him to me because I have a parachute.
Okay.
And I will parachute us both down.
Okay. I think that you are close enough that you could extend your staff.
And he can grab it?
Yeah. Or would you prefer? Are you saying that you'd like to do magic?
I thought he was super far away from me. So if he's close enough, I'm going to reach out my staff and say, grab the staff.
Okay. You are holding your parachute, so you are able to extend the staff, and he is easily able to grab it. However, your parachute is not strapped onto you.
Can I kind of like...
I could put it on you.
The parachute?
Mm-hmm. I wonder, is it going to be easy? I think it'd be easier for me to get it on the back of you than to get it on me.
Oh, you're not holding it onto your back. You're just holding it free out?
Yeah,
she
I
caught the
it.
parachute when Rex dropped it, and then you dove into the windshield.
Look, I got excited and perhaps acted prematurely. I thought maybe I'd crack it a little, and we'd go from there. We have time to regroup.
Not at all, baby. You rolled a 6.
Life happens fast when you're in an exploding spaceship that's just been hit by bloom energy, refracted into void energy, and exploded in half.
Okay,
You know, your basic issues.
Let's focus right now. We're going to get through this. You grab the staff. I'm going to put the parachute on the back of him. And I'm going to somehow, like, spider monkey down, like, grab onto him.
Sure. Roll act under pressure.
What pressure?
Oh, that's a 10.
Excellent. You do exactly what you set out to do. Tell us what it looks like.
Okay, so I reach it out, and it's hard to see, and there's wind everywhere, and there's shit everywhere, and I'm like, grab the staff! But I can't speak because my voice just dissipates. So I try to use our psychic connection, and I feel the tooth in my pocket, and I'm like, please make this work. Please make this work. And so in my head, I yell to him, grab the staff. And then he whips his head around like, what the? And then he sees the staff, and he gets what I'm trying to say, and he grabs it, and very slowly we climb the length of this 6-foot staff to each other. And then as that happens, I grab his arm, or no, I talk through the tooth, and I'm like, hold on to the staff. I'm going to let go of it. Don't drop it. This is a family heirloom. I will be banned forever by my mother. Don't drop it.
I'm just nodding vigorously.
Okay. So I give him the staff. I let go of it. I grabbed onto him.
You guys are just like tumbling through the air as this is happening.
It's really hard to do this right now. It's like that TikTok where people are climbing all over each other without touching the ground, but times 100 is what we're trying to do right now. And so I maneuver my way to his back, and I take with one hand, I've got an arm around his waist. I take one thing and I clip around one arm, and then I go to clip around the other arm, and that's the arm that's got the staff, and I'm like, shit. And so then I have to tell him again through the tooth, switch arms, put the staff in the other hand, but don't drop it. And then he tentatively does that. very carefully. I'm watching over his shoulder. I'm just like, please, please, please. Okay, he does it. And then I wrap the other parachute side around his arm, and we're good. And then I crawl around. I try to think of the best way to hold on. Yeah, because I need to be on the front side of him because I don't want to get a parachute in my face. So I crawl around to the front of him and I bear hug the shit out of him and I put the the staff between the two of us and I'm like, pull the chute!
And right before he does, you have a moment of a memory creeps across your brain of looking at the vid screen in the VIP suite of the Haven, and your mother is looking at you saying, you know, I think it would just be good for you to have some fun and maybe get into a little trouble. And then Tag pulls the parachute and whoom, your momentum is slowed drastically as you are now floating towards the ground. Rex, you just saw Tag do the intergalactic people's elbow down through the entire ship and blow the windshield out of it. And he and the summoner have now plummeted towards the planet, and you've kind of lost sight of them. The ship is tearing itself apart, and you do not think it will hold together much longer.
All right. Well, I briefly salute the coolest people's elbow that I have ever seen. And then I exit via the safest and closest exit.
While this ship is still frozen in the air and tearing itself apart, you think that you could unhook and simply jump into the center and fall down out of the windshield the same way that Tag did. He forgot to grab a parachute and put it on before he did. So I recommend you put on a parachute before you do.
I definitely put on a parachute before I do that extremely cool move.
All right. Yeah, sweet. Roll act under pressure. That's plus cool.
7.
Okay, so you can avoid the professor on your way down and get out by you will hit something else and take harm, or you can get out clean. The only thing you're going to hit is the professor, and he's much softer than the bulkhead of the ship.
That is what I will do.
Hit the professor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why, of course you will.
Sure. You fly down and collide with the professor. What happens?
Sorry. Didn't see you there.
Professor, what happens when she smashes into you and, continues through the windshield?
I assumed you'd already left the ship. Bye.
I'm literally in the way of your exit. Well, I'm technically still magnetized or held up inside the ship. So even if she hits me, it's not going to make me tumble out yet because my feet are still kind of like there. But it does kind of wrench my back a bit because it's basically I'm working over here and then she kind of spins me this way. But yeah, do you want me to continue on with my turn?
It's your turn. You're the last of the party in the ship.
Okay,
and you see the metal ripping apart now as it's accordioning, and you have seconds before you think that this engine's going to tear the back half off this ship.
Oh man, that would have been so cool to actually watch. In fact,
you consider it.
My laser, I consider putting on the little camera on my little laser cannon here, just to look in that direction so I can study it later. I disregard that because I know it's not enough time. So I put on the parachute, and if I can basically put on the parachute, that's number one, and then if I could somehow simultaneously remove the robot. From the harness, if it's, something that can be removed, I want to grab the robot and then have him or it come out with me.
Sure.
Yes. CNAC 88 lives to fight another day, baby.
He realizes what you're doing and goes, oh my God, that's right. Ooh, I think if I was a human, I would be having a stroke. And he just unhooks his thing and grabs you, and the two of you You roll Act Under Pressure.
I will. Does my +1... No, never mind. That's a +1 for a different thing that I already resolved. So Act Under Pressure would be cool, and my cool is +1, and so that's a 10.
Excellent. You do exactly what you set out to do. Tell us what it looks like.
Oh, man. Okay, so basically what I just said, I put on my parachute, and then I'm simultaneously doing that. He realizes what I'm doing. He begins to help me, and then I kind of like just smack my hip, and then that releases my boots, and then we kind of like corkscrew through the opening and head first to the surface of the planet.
Okay. As you make it out,
Cradling a robot in my arms.
and you're just
spin.
spiraling down
That's right.
towards. Behind you, as you make one of the revolutions, and you can see up and behind you, the ship engines finally crunch the ship and blow out. At that moment, there is this strange experience as though the ship was covered in dust, like a very fine chalk dust, and somebody just went, except what you see instead of dust is a combination of glowing green and purple energy as the event that Lisa triggered, Bryn triggered, dissolves, and that elemental energy dissipates off of the ship. And as you're corkscrewing down, you see this ship now start to fall down after you. But you, those of you with parachutes can pull those ropes if you want. You manage. The robot reaches up as you are holding him. He grabs the steering ropes, and the three of you everybody is able to spin out in a circle as the ship plummets through the middle of this circle you formed in the air and hits the ground first and knocks over some trees. There's no Indiana Jones explosion. It simply just like smashes to bits. And you all float down into the forest of the preserve. You're now standing in the trees. It is a rough landing. Why doesn't everybody just roll a quick Act Under Pressure and tell me if anybody rolls a failure?
All right.
No.
Failure is 6 or below.
Yes. I have a feeling somebody did.
I got an 8.
I got a 9.
Connor, you might be on mute.
You're muted, Connor.
Barely scraped by with a 7.
Okay. So, Bryn, Professor, and Tag. Tag and Bryn, you are entwined. You snag in the trees and kind of bounce around some branches, but your momentum is slowed enough that when you get to the bottom of where your parachute can go, you can easily cut it free and land on your feet, no problem. Same with you, Professor. The robot weighs you down a little bit, and you guys stumble, but you make it okay. Rex isn't there.
Uh-oh.
What do you do?
What do we do, or what does Rex do?
What do you all do?
I
Coolest thing ever.
I, without any sense of the irony of having blown through the windshield of a ship, tanking my protector down with me, with no parachute myself, relying wholly on her to save me, I say, "That's okay. I got it." And I kind of give her a thumbs up and look around.
As a dark spot slowly reaches down your leg.
While you're looking around, you do see above you that Rex is suspended in a very tall tree at the extent that her parachute will allow, and she is struggling with these straps, but hanging probably 20 feet above the forest floor. The forest is thick. You can't see very far around you, and it is dark beneath the canopy. The spaceship did crash through trees and knock a couple over, so there is light coming through, and you're in the wreckage. It's in a couple big pieces of the spaceship, but Rex is hanging in the canopy. So Tag is the one who sees her. What do the three of the others do?
As soon as he points her out, I'm gonna start grabbing, foliage, different kinds of stuff, breaking off branches, so I can create kind of like a safe place for her to land.
Okay. I think that's easy to do.
Mhm.
You don't need to roll for that.
I just shout up. Are you okay?
I think I might have broken a rib when I got caught in the trees.
A whole rib?
I don't know. Something hurts.
I know what you mean.
I'm okay. I can probably just drop down.
Okay.
All right.
Shoot. I didn't get trained for this. Does anybody have their survival kit on them?
Yeah. It's gonna be okay. I actually have some things. She has her survival kit, but I also, as soon as she gets down here, I have a healing potion actually that we should be able to make sure she's just fine.
I mean, I
All
can
right,
magic
I'm
her
gonna
down,
start-
but that makes me nervous.
Okay, well, I can kind of, I'm really good at climbing trees. I think I could swing a little bit from where I am, and if I could just release at the right moment, I should be able to, grab onto that branch down below me. Ooh. I don't know. I can give that a try.
You seem hurt. You don't want one of us to climb up there and give you a hand?
I mean, no offense, but are any of you good at climbing trees? You kind of look like you just stay inside labs all day.
Well, some of us do.
I looked down at myself and could not think of a better adjective than squirrely to describe my so I think, yeah, probably great.
Can I cast Bones to figure out which outcome is better, having her jump or having us climb up there?
Yeah, let's look at Bones. It's a strange move. I threw it in there because it was strange.
What does Bones do?
Okay, yeah. This is a... Yeah, you can. It's a powerful move. I feel like you only get to do it once per mystery. So I just want you to know that before you do. But you are more than welcome to do it if you want to use it for...
or this whole arc?
This whole arc.
This episode.
Woo!
Oh, yikes. Why don't we just rely on either falling or swinging, and then she'll probably live, and then we can pour some health juice down her gullet. You can save your bones.
All right.
You are correct. Studied many things, but not medicine.
The health juice. It's good. It's good. A little coffee in there. It gives it a little zip.
It's just pre-workout.
Oh, goodness.
Okay, well, I got my little survival knife, but I'm going to cut myself out. So, all right. 1, 2, 3.
I cast shield.
All right, cool. We're going to resolve a couple things. First, Trin, roll Act Under Pressure. You get a +1 because the professor laid some soft ferns underneath you.
A +1.
Okay. 10.
Okay. You fall a lot faster than you thought, and you are about to land on the ferns when shield is cast. Bryn cast shield. Roll plus weird.
9.
Okay. You...
No.
Yeah, so you slam into the ground, but a magical... What does your shield look like, Bryn?
My shield?
Yeah, I imagine it's tied to an element. In my brain, because you're from the fire planet, it was tied to fire. It doesn't need to be.
My shield is sand.
Sand?
Yes.
All right, what does it look like?
It is like swirling, golden, flecked, speckled sand, like like absolutely stunningly brilliant, and it swirls like this, and it makes when it lands the person, they fall almost into like a soft bed of sand that then dissipates when they land on the ground.
Sure.
Beautiful.
That is
Beautiful.
exactly what happens. And as you put your hands into these ferns to get up, you realize you would have killed yourself if you'd fallen out of that tree into these ferns. And that shield spell just saved your life.
Is that true mechanically? That would have been the death of this character.
The mechanics and narrative, the line between them is so
I know that you were,
blurry.
you're not gonna kill old Rex episode 1, but
I just spend
I just
like
want to know just
3
numerically
minutes.
just how fragile we are.
I just spend like the next 3 minutes, like the sand magically dissipated, but it still feels, like when an insect crawls across you and
Oh, sure.
everything feels like all tingly and itchy.
That shit's everywhere.
Sorry
and I'm
about
also
that.
feeling very embarrassed because I'm supposed to be the cool, tough one, and they've already seen me like freeze and panic over this big wave of magical energy and get space sickness and then just like fail this parachute jump. So I'm mostly just pulling, these twigs and leaves and just, more spiders. I
Jungle
finally
spiders.
get myself kind of cleaned off, and I'm just like, thanks.
Do you want some water or something?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you.
So the professor hands over a canteen. You guys are now on the ground next to the wreckage of the ship. You landed very close to it. But, Bryn, when you cast Shield, now that you're on this planet, roll plus weird. Just a straight plus weird roll.
8.
Okay. Will you tell me what it feels like normally when you use magic or cast spells? What is the experience like? Where do you draw your power from? What does it feel like?
It's like stirring up adrenaline, like on demand.
Mhm.
So I think about it. It's like an adrenaline spike hits, and then I'm able to focus that so that it shoots out. And in the beginning, I wasn't very good at being able to keep it consistent, but now with a lot of training, I'm able to keep a consistent flow of it until I want to stop.
Okay. The planet that you are from is connected to the element of fire.
Right.
It resonates magically, especially with your family. When you are casting spells on your home planet, are you aware of that presence in any particular way?
You mean just the
The planet,
of it?
almost the planet itself, and its connection to the continuum.
It kind of feels like how can I describe it? It kind of feels like after now we've been in the air and then you land and things feel like they've settled and they're right. That's how it feels on the planet. Like it's very in tune, the same frequency. It feels like within like my whole being. So it's almost like this endless well that I can draw from that's always there.
Sure. Okay. This time when you cast Shield, you're on a planet that you've never been to before, and the magical energy that is at this place comes from a very different element, the element of bloom. And you know, because it's direct connection, not just you, Bryn, but everybody knows that it's one of the more difficult magical energies to capitalize on as far as the company is concerned. While fire is a very easy thing to harness and use as a tool, same with water, lightning. These things, bloom, it in and of itself is difficult to harness. What they end up doing is using its byproduct. Things grow more prevalently here, and they use that to make seeds and crops and feed people. And there's an abundance of resources here. But the energy itself it's not inaccessible, it's just evasive. It's hard to tie down. When you cast a spell on this planet, you are immediately aware of its presence. And while you've never felt it before, you know that what you're feeling is a heightened state. It is not the way a planet feels typically. And because you're so in tune with magic, you do get a sense that the planet is almost in distress. You're aware of your environment like you never have been before, as though the entire planet is listening when you call upon the magic to fuel your spell. Only the planet is tense, as though it's holding its breath. And it's a very startling feeling. You're standing in a very dense forest. Rex, you have a memory pass by your mind's eye of Arn saying, yeah, as long as you stay on the trail and nobody goes into the trees, you should be fine. You look out and see that there is nothing but jungle. And not only is there nothing but jungle, you're on a relatively low part of the geography. And so you have no idea where you might be in relation to the facility and the colony that you saw in the air. You remember that CNAC 88 had a guide program installed, but he says, I know where you can get a drink at Homestead, and I don't know where we are. There is wreckage around you. It does not look like it's been completely destroyed, but you are now in the jungle. What would you like to do?
I'm going to tell everybody that something's not right here. Magic is different. Something is off.
Is that a typical experience that you have when you visit a different planet, or?
Magic is usually easily accessible and flows and just there, and you feel it. And here, it's kind of like it's there scratching the surface, and as I tried to reach for it, it would just disappear. So it took me more to reach it. And after I used it, it left me extremely cold and damp. And, and magic isn't that way. It's not. It doesn't feel that, at least in my experience. So it feels like something is taking over the magic that's here. It's the only way I can think to explain it. Like a virus or I don't know. Or it's either that or it's hiding. And I don't know why it would be hiding.
Jesse, I have a question. Oh, go ahead.
As she's talking, I look up, and the way that I picture this forest, it's a very, very dense forest, huge, thick tree trunks, but the tree canopy, the leaves are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of feet up. If we wanted to grab a branch, branches don't start for 50 yards taller than us, and I just want to see if either in those leaves looking down or even through the trunks on the ground level, I see any other presence, a creature, a person, an animal.
There's no roll required. You can hear kind of jungle chitter, but it does seem subdued. And while there are some insects buzzing around you, for the most part, the forest feels quiet. You don't see any animals. It's not silent. You do hear them. It seems to be like they're not really making noise.
I quietly reach into my survival pack and pull out the warming blanket and hand it to Bryn.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
So in this situation, if, say, for instance, it was D&D or Pathfinder or whatnot, I would, want to ask some questions, and then I'd roll like a knowledge check to see if my character would have that information. My character is a, like I said, like a doctor of many things. Probably not necessarily how to find oneself in a jungle, but like I don't know, maybe I've studied this planet, maybe I know its relationship, how many suns it has, or something like that. Is there anything that I know that I could like gloss back in my recollection of this planet and my knowledge of it to figure out like, maybe I could make a compass out of rubbing some wool over a needle and placing it on a floating leaf or something. I don't know, something like that.
Sure. We're gonna. What you're talking about are two different mechanics, and you can do both. I would recommend in these situations, typically leaning on investigate a mystery. It's just going to be an easy, because we're playing in the theater of the mind, and we all might be imagining these things semi-differently. It just gives you an easy, like, tell me some stuff. Uh-huh. So the thing about these is it does, for the most part, make it sound like these questions are geared towards a creature. And that is the case. What we're going to do is we're going to phrase them differently. So you can just ask something along these lines in the situation. You will say, I'm investigating a mystery. The mystery that I'm investigating is like, what the fuck should I be doing right now? And we will ask questions based on how you roll, and I will answer them. And it is my goal as the mission control to tell you guys the truth. Some of the answers you get will be limited simply because of the context or your ability to gain the knowledge, but I will not deceive you when I'm answering these questions. So you're just going to, I guess you could either investigate a mystery or read a bad situation. Read a bad situation would be just as apt because this is tough.
Okay. I guess they're both sharp, so I think I'm gonna maybe read a bad situation.
Sure.
All right. So sharp is +2, and that is not great. 7.
Okay, on a 7, you get to hold 1. There is a list of questions. You get to ask one of them.
How about what is the best way out of the jungle?
Okay. You recall when CNAC 88 opened the windows to show you the preserve and pointed out to you the facility and the colony. There was a rather large cliff which seemed to jut up out of this gigantic canopy that you're now standing under, and a waterfall that must be feeding some kind of river. If you were able to find the river and follow it, it could lead you to a place that would get you up above the canopy and perhaps give you a sense of direction.
Excellent. I have a few more things, but I don't want to hog the airwaves. So if someone has another thing, go for it.
Any other ideas that you want to address, or is the professor taking the lead for a second?
Let me just sort of in this adrenal come down, let me just take a moment to close my eyes after listening to Bryn and what she was saying about that magic. I don't have the kind of specialty in magic that she does. My magic is a little bit more all over the place, a little more anarchic, but I want to see what I can feel, if there's what forces are pulling there.
Sure. Do you got the reference sheet in front of you?
I do.
Unless you have a move in mind, this would be a use magic move.
Okay, great. 8.
Okay, so you're going to choose one of these effects. We will elbow it into the narrative action you'd like to take. And then you're also going to choose one of these glitches, and I will tell you what the glitch does.
Great. I'm going to choose communicate with something that you do not share a language with. Okay. And I want that to be, I'm going to hear what Bryn is saying and choose to believe that something, either the magic itself is holding back or some other force is holding the magic back. So I want to communicate with whatever or whoever it is that is doing that holding back.
Okay. And then choose one of these glitches.
Let's do The magic draws immediate, unwelcome attention.
Okay. So, as you're centering yourself, would you tell me what it feels like when you are using magic? It is a very different form of magic. It does not seem to play into the elemental nature that Bryn's does, but yours comes from a different place and has a different ability. What does it feel like? What does it look like?
It's kind of like that feeling when you remember kissing someone for the first time, where your heart kind of floats a little bit higher in your rib cage up into your throat, and you kind of breathe around it, and it's not even the dust in the air. There's just a certain shimmer. It's again that sort of oil in water aesthetic of the world around me that kind of shines and glimmers in different ways. Not that light is reflecting off of anything in terms of optical physics, but just an extra element in the air.
Okay. So you feel yourself lifting up, and in a way, it feels as though your body is having an out-of-body experience, but your mind is staying anchored to the ground. And you can just kind of feel yourself dissolve into the environment for just a moment. And you do connect with something. I inferred that in a way you were reaching out to see if you could see or feel the planet and perhaps what it was going through.
Sure.
That ability seems to be outside of your reach. When you open up your mind to find that thing, that wealth of unlimited power, there isn't one. You do feel something, though. You think, I can't see anything because I'm closing my eyes. But what you realize is, as you float outside of your body, you're in a dark place, and that's why you can't see. But there's something in this place with you. It is a tightness. It is constriction. It feels as though a shell is shrinking. And then you notice a presence, and it's the one that you were looking for, that wealth of power, except it is bound in this darkness, and the hold on it is only getting tighter. And for a moment, you feel what it feels like to wrap your hand around a planet and squeeze it until its energy flows into yours. And then you realize that's not your hand. It's something else's. And that something just realized you're looking right at it. And it looked right back at you. Your heart falls into your chest so quickly that you lose your breath. You're panting, you're sweating, you're feeling a little emotional, as though you did just have a first kiss. And all of a sudden, the quiet that you hear in the jungle, not the silence, but the effort everything out here is making to go unnoticed, makes a lot more sense to you. And as we zoom in to Tag's face, and he recognizes that while he cannot see anything else in this jungle, there is something out there, and it just saw him. Blackout.
Wow. All
Thank you so
right.
much for playing, guys.
That
That
was
is
so
the
fun.
conclusion to our first session of Void Jumpers, the new weekly space opera.
Oh,
I forgot to mention
Yeah.
opera is the that's the music that I listen to.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. All right.
Can we just take a moment to say hell yeah to everybody who took time out of their Wednesday night to come on this adventure with us?
Yeah.
I was paying attention to this, but I was trying to pop every blue moon into the chat. I saw a lot of tasty puns in there. That's exactly the kind of work I like seeing. We had some very, very generous donations to the tip jar. And we're thrilled to keep telling this story. So thanks for watching. Tell your friends. Come back next Wednesday, 6 p.m.
Thanks for being at the Maiden Voyage.
The Maiden Voyage.
On the Haven. Yay.
That was great.
Yeah, there is a Discord. I'm going to let Lisa tell you more about it and how to find it, because I think that she knows about it more. While I will not be active during chats on these sessions because I'm just trying to ensure that the experience is maintained, I will dip into the Discord, and I would love to interact with people, get feedback, answer some questions, look at those puns, be there, be present, and say what's up, because we're doing this for you guys, and we're having a great time. At least I am. I had a fucking blast, so...
Also, we're doing it for ourselves because this is really fun.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we do have a Discord we just made for Void Jumpers specifically. It's new, so it will fill out as the needs become apparent. But right now, we've got a place for everybody to chat. We've got the announcements of us going live, and we've got a fan art folder because we.
What?
Oh, I cannot wait! I would love if
see
somebody
it.
dropped some fan
what
art
it
in
is.
there.
Holy shit.
I know. I can't wait to see it, and I hope by putting the folder in there that you guys will get inspired and share with us your insane talents of creating a drawing based on characters. So we will get. Where is the? I don't know where the Discord link is right now, but I will definitely share it on Twitter for sure. And then we'll probably drop it in the ZOE Discord as well.
Yeah. Plus, Mark,
Russell,
if you got it on lock, drop that Discord link into the chat for us. Our faithful, and excellent technician, Mark, who
Thank you very much.
has made
What's up,
all
Mark?
of this possible tonight,
Yeah, Mark.
as well as smashing out that intro video. Our theme song is by Aaron Buman, who's a real dope cat, and yeah, this is cool.
That's cool.
Thanks, everybody.
We're on the social. If people are on Instagram or Twitter, we're at Void Jumpers. Also, fresh, empty, clean social media, but it's going to fill out as the story keeps going.
Yeah, I look forward to next Wednesday. I hope everybody comes back to watch us see what happens.
Yeah, cool.
I'm Brian S. Lewis.
I'm Trin Miller.
That's Brian S. Lewis and Trin Miller.
And other people have names too.
I'm Jesse.
And I'm Lisa Coronado.
I'm Connor Mark.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, everybody. Good night.